Good morning, Zambia. Welcome to Showster's House, a show where we break down the nation's most contentious issues with facts, obviously with very balanced debates as well as legal insights. I'm your host, Jackson Peary. Now, this week, the nation has been talking about the draft constitutional amendments, and obviously that the UPND government recently released. Now, the people that are supporting are saying that it's overdue, and of course it's very progressive. And of course we've got people on the other side who are critics, people who are actually opposing. They're saying that it looks like the UPND government are trying to win the election before the election date. Now I'd be glad to know that on the show today I am with respected legal minds. Okay, one on the proposing side who happens to be Mr. McQueen, Zaza, and of course I've got another gentleman on my left side who is actually on the opposing side, who is Jonas, Zimba. These are legal minds, and of course they're here to help us break down this conversation so that you can make a constructive decision at the end of the day. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thank you for making time.
You're welcome. So
on the proposing side, I'll start with Mr. Zaza. A number of stakeholders have actually expressed reservations over proposed constitutional amendments, citing lack of consensus and legitimacy. I'd like to hear your view before I throw it to Council Zimba.
No, thank you so much. So when you talk about some stakeholders, who are those stakeholders? You first need to know who are those stakeholders.
Can you mention some?
I mean, go ahead and mention some. Because we have so-called stakeholders who are perpetually opposed to everything. Those are not the stakeholders that mean well for the people of Zambia. And when we talk about, what we are talking about here is not an overhaul constitution. We are talking about an amendment to the constitution.
Yes.
So if we are talking about an amendment to the constitution, the formula that is used to overhaul a constitution and the formula used to amend the constitution are two different things. An amendment comes about to refine a document that is already in existence, whereas an overhaul, you want to come up with a new document that is different. That document, if you are going to overhaul a constitution, that document requires a lot of consensus, because you are looking at everything,
a lot of consensus,
totality of everything.
Yes.
But here we're looking at certain provisions that have even been in courts, where courts have even pronounced. The only thing that government is doing is to codify those provisions. So there is legitimacy in doing that. And when we talk about legitimacy, what do we mean? Legitimacy,
following procedure, it
has something to do with loyalty. How is this constitution or this amendment going to garner loyalty or get loyalty from the people, obedience and respect? That's legitimacy. Are the people of Zambia going to be loyal to these amendments if they go through? Yes. Are they going to be obedient? Yes. Are they going to respect? Yes. Why do I say so? Because these are things that emanate from case law. Most of them, they emanate from case law. Then some of them, they emanate from the fact that there has been a group that has been sidelined for a very, very, very long time. And these groups are the minority groups. And they are saying, we also want to be part of the governance system.
Council, before I go to, I throw it to Council Zimba.
Yes.
Are you trying to downplay the cry from the public that says that the consensus hasn't been effective? Are you trying to say that the consensus isn't really very important at this stage because we're just amending, it's not an overhaul?
You see, my brother, what I'm talking about is that I'm not trying to downplay what they are saying. What I'm trying to say is that there has to be a realization that what we are doing, this process, is an amendment. It falls under what is called constitutional amendability. So when you have constitutional amendability, you are looking at how can you make the constitution more effective to the cries of the people. That's what we are doing right now.
And the people can't be part of that process?
They should be part of the process. How are they part of the process? Two types. They are part of the process in two instances. First, through their leadership. Remember, the people all legislative powers in this country is vested in what? The people of Zambia, when you look at Article 61. But that legislative power is not exercised by the people directly. It's exercised by the people indirectly through representative democracy. These are the MPs that we have. Secondly, the people can participate directly by making submissions to Parliament. Parliament will be open. There will be a committee that will be selected, a select committee to look at this, and they'll get views from the people. That is participation of the people.
Let me throw it to Councillor Zimba. The outcry out there has been that this process, the public hasn't really been involved. They are probably just told this is what's there and follow. I'd like to hear your view there.
Thank you very much, sir. First of all, I must say that I'm a very sad individual today as regards what is going on. I think we are being very simplistic when we begin to look at what is going on. The nature of the Constitution is that it is not an ordinary document. And the nature of the Constitution is that it is not like any act of Parliament. This is the grand norm. And that is why you notice that, first of all, our Constitution starts off with saying, we the people of Zambia. And in Article 61, 62, says the legislative authority vests with the people. And you've also got your principles set out in Article 8, which emphasize that there will be democracy and constitutionalism. What democracy talks about is the will of the people. Now, when you are amending the Constitution, since time immemorial, the way this has been done is that the people who are the owners of the document must have a say.
The people must have a say.
Now, you see, one of the strict principles of leadership is that when you are a leader, remove arrogance and listen. Who are you listening to? The people you lead. Don't work with things like, no, we have consulted them. These are the things they have been saying. You see, collection of views is very important. We have always said that consensus builds legitimacy. And what is it that protects content? It is the process. What process has been undertaken here? People have come up and they have said, these are the provisions we think should be taken. Where did they collect these provisions from? Whose views did they consider? Then there is a document now, Bill 7, and what is being said is, this is the document, let's debate it. Okay, you can't bring a document and then say, let's debate it, when you didn't consult us in the first place. There is a problem. Let us acknowledge that. No one in this country is saying, let us not amend the Constitution. What we are saying is, when you want to amend the Constitution, collect views from us, the Zambian people. Listen to what we are saying. After you have done that, then you can proceed to incorporate our views into a document.
Let me just add a question. I've seen people saying that it's not possible to get views from 20 million people. Others are simply not interested. Others don't exactly know what they want. What is the best way to collect views from the public before we come up with that document?
So, you see, from time immemorial, what has been done is that there has been a commission that has been set up. And this commission has been set up by probably a way of an act of Parliament.
Yes.
And what these people would do is that then they will have power to perform a statutory function. Then they will decide to either have public sittings or have submissions made to them. And when they do that, they will either decide that they will have rules of collecting these views either under the Inquiries Act or any other procedure that they will set. That is the best way of collecting views. They'll come up with a report. This report will then say, these are the views of the people. Now, those views will be protected by that. And then you can then narrow those views down into what you call a proposal of what the amendment should be. This has been the procedure throughout.
Are you saying none of that has happened with this?
Nothing.
What do you think could be the reason why the UPND government are doing this without following that procedure?
I've told you that when you are a leader, don't be arrogant. Listen to your people.
In this case, President Haga and the entire leadership are being arrogant.
It's just arrogance, that's all.
Before I go to Council Zaza, some stakeholders are also saying that it looks rushed when we have other issues of importance, like maybe load shedding, the economy.
Even before we talk about issues of load shedding, the economy, it's just really a question of we've got a proposal that we should amend the constitution. This period that we are saying we should amend the constitution in, is this sufficient time? Why do we want to cherry pick from the constitution? You see, the way the constitution is structured is such that one provision has a link to another. I have seen in this particular draft bill, number 7 of 2025, that there are new things that are coming in there. Things like prorogue. There are things like constituency-based seats. You know, these we have to talk about these things. Okay, you can't give the president power to just wake up and say, Madam Speaker, I want to suspend the National Assembly. I'm consulting you on it. What is your view? Do you think the Speaker will say no?
I don't think so.
You see, and then he suspends National Assembly, and that's it. This is a group of elected people from the people. Let the people decide whether this is what they want or not. Have you consulted them? Have you gotten their views on this? There is nothing. Today they are saying no, there's 30 days of public engagement. That 30 days of public engagement, whose views are you collecting? How are the views being protected? There is nothing. Is there going to be a report to say this is what the people said?
I hear the Minister of Justice is going around collecting views.
Using which authority? Is there a particular piece of legislation that allows that this should be done? You want to be in charge of the process of collecting views? You can't do that. All that is wrong. Look, even here, I did hear you say that we've got a proposer and an opposer. It's really a question of there being a proposer and an opposer. It is a question of us saying, what is our position on this process? Okay? We agreed that yes, constitutions must be amended. What we are not agreed on is how we should do this. The process that is being undertaken is not an agreed process. We're simply saying, let the owners of the document, the Zambian people, be involved in whatever alteration you want to make to this document. An argument such as, we are simply amending a part of it and not an overhaul of the document, that argument cannot stand. This is not your document. This is the Zambian people's document. Let them get involved. You can't trivialize collection of views of the Zambian people with a simple argument such as, no, we're just touching a bit of this. No, you can't trivialize it. Let us be sincere, even as we do these things.
So I was going to bring you back to that same argument. So it's been said that unless we're doing an overhaul, that's when now we can extensively involve the public. But now we're just changing something that's already there. We're just maybe changing one or two things.
No, that's a lame duck argument. It must not even be used. You are touching a document which is not yours. I can't say this person owns this whole house. Now, simply because I want to go and walk on the lawn and not in the house, I can't get permission from them. No. The whole document belongs to the Zambian people.
Council Zaza, how do you respond to that? You gave that argument earlier on, saying that it's not an overhaul, it's just part of it. So no wonder the extensive participation of the public hasn't been done. How would you respond to that? Are you satisfied with the process right now that we are?
For you to be satisfied or not to be satisfied with the process, you look at, has the government breached any law? The answer is no. What is the basis upon which this government has moved the way it has moved? It's Article 79. Article 79 will tell you, step by step, the steps that you're supposed to follow in altering the constitution or amending the constitution. And we followed those, and the government has followed those steps. When you look at Article 79, it will not tell you anything about, go and collect the views. Even then, did the government collect the views? Yes. Where did they collect the views? To start with, we've had a number of reports from commissions. We've had the Chona Commission in 1973.
Yes.
We had the Mvunga Commission in 1991. We had the Manakato Commission 1996. We had other commissions that were appointed after the Manakato Commission. Those are the views. When you look at all those commissions, you'll see that there's been something that has been consistent. One thing that has been consistent is that there has been exclusion of youths, people with disabilities, and women in the governance system. That's why you find in 1996, during the Mwanakatwe Commission, the emphasis was that we should have a mixed member proportional representation. So this government just went to that document and got that view. And this is the proposal that is in this, this view. No,
sorry, before you throw me off, I want...
Just wait. I just want to clear this thing. So the views were already they were collected from the people.
In 1990?
They were collected in the... You look at all those reports. These are reports that were progressive.
You don't think we needed to do like maybe a fresh commission to get what's latest for it to affect the current amendments? You don't know?
When was the last commission, to your knowledge? The last commission?
I would lie if I said it from top of my head.
The last commission that we had in, I think it was after 2016. What were the proposals there? The proposal was that we should have a mixed member proportional representation. That is the reason why the PF, when they came up with Bill 10, one of the provisions that they had was the mixed member. Proportional representation. Where did they get that? They got that from the views of the people. This has been a cry from 1971, as far back as 1973 to today. That has been the cry. So what this government has done, and showing leadership, they got that provision and they've put it as part of the Bill 7.
So tell me something. The UPND, they want to amend the constitution based on the commission that was done in the PF?
So how you amend the constitution? When you amend the constitution, you look at all the documents where people have given their...
But without you doing any yourselves, you look at the documents that were done by other people?
Just wait, my brother. So what they did was they looked at all the documents. They also got, you remember the Minister of Justice, the former Minister of Justice, Milambo Haimbe State Council. He was on TV, he was on public TV, telling the people of Zambia that actually what had happened was that they were approached by different organizations. One of the organizations that approached the then Minister of Justice was the Law Association of Zambia. What was their proposal regarding the electoral system they wanted? It was mixed member proportional representation. So as far back as 2023, Laz went and saw those people, the Minister of Justice. And they had a document which they presented to the Minister of Justice. It's in that gathering of views. So what the government has done, it has just gathered all these views and it has put them into this document that today we call Bill number 7.
You think the people are being unreasonable by saying that we haven't been included?
They are not being unreasonable. Most of them are being mischievous. He is here. Ask him, when the Minister of Justice brought all those areas that were supposed to be an area for the amendments, to seek to provide for the amendments, ask him if he went and made representation. You find that he probably didn't. People
are saying that the program has the whole process has been rushed.
Is there any provision in the Constitution that says that defines what it means to be rushed and not to be rushed? There is no such a provision. These are just moral arguments that are emanating from people who've been perpetually opposing to anything. They've just been perpetually opposing to anything. You see, the problem that we have in this country is that whenever someone proposes something, then there will be an opposing view. An opposing view usually is very subjective because it's not them who've opposed. Just twist, just change their positions. You'll find that the moment this one proposes, this one is going to oppose. We should stop that kind of looking at
mentality and looking at things.
Especially when we are looking at making the law.
Council, I agree with you. We should not disagree with everything that is proposed, but also we can't tell people to. We can't ask people to. We can't tell people how to behave when they don't like certain propositions that are made to them. Because I mean, they are also part of.
Even as we sit right now, between the among the three of us, you cannot tell me one provision that is retrogressive in this bill.
Let's just get the answer right now before I go to my next question. Council, just give us one provision from the draft constitution amendment that is retrogressive.
First of all, let me. I don't think I should let what my colleague has said just go. And this aspect of saying that no, tell us which provision of the law has been breached. In this country, we've got our Article 8 in the Constitution.
Yes.
And our Article 8 talks about democracy and constitutionalism. The tenets of a democracy are that the people's will is what must go. If you don't get the people's will going, you are breaching.
Those are theories. They are not part of the Constitution. We are talking about show us one provision in the Constitution that defines constitutionalism or democracy.
Let me just say this before you continue. We have the whole nation right now listening and looking for guidance from the two of you.
Yes.
You are the learned people, like you are the trusted legal minds. Please guide us with all the good faith. I know you are probably standing on different sides, but please, we meant for this to be very educational. Please guide us with all the good faith. You were saying?
So I'm indicating that we've got Article 8 in our Constitution.
Yes.
Article 8 speaks to democracy and constitutionalism. Democracy speaks to having the will of the people take the day. Is it the will of the people that you must proceed and amend the Constitution in the manner that you are doing? No. Okay. That is a breach of the law. You've been asked to show which provision has been breached. That is the provision. When you go to Article 79, you don't read Article 79 in isolation. The Constitution is read as a whole. Even when you are interpreting the Constitution, you interpret the Constitution as a whole. You do not interpret the Constitution by cherry-picking provisions. No, one provision is linked to another. I have also been asked to show, first of all, it has been said that some people are being mischievous. Apologies to the people that are being referred to as such, but I think they have a right to air their views as regards this matter. In this particular constitution, we have a proposal to amend Article 52.6. And in the amendment of Article 52.6, there's a reference to where a person resigns. There is a reference to where a person dies when they have...
which page is that?
I'm talking about page 4 to 5, and in particular clause 4 relating to the last part, which is 6, where the candidate resigns after having been nominated in accordance with the article. The candidate shall not be, and then has been disqualified by a court after a clause of nomination, and there's dies before death prescribed for the holding of elections. Now, remember that we are talking about a democracy. Here, a political party that have put out people, and a person dies who has filed a nomination out of no fault of their own, because you don't decide your expiry date. But what this constitution is proposing is that when this political party has put out this particular person, and this person dies on this particular day, and he's representing a political party, out of no fault of the political party will not participate in that election. That's not a progressive clause.
No, that is not true. Let's read this provision.
Let's read it.
Let's read this provision.
Let him be the one to read
it.
Are you able to read for us?
No, he has a hard copy. So you read it.
Says, dies before the date prescribed for the holding of the election, the Electoral Commission shall cancel the election and shall call for filing of fresh nominations, and the election shall be held within 30 days of receipt of fresh nominations.
Where does it say that this person will not, this political party will not be afforded?
Let me also read it just so I can understand it.
Read it.
C says, dies before the date prescribed for the holding of the election, the Electoral Commission shall cancel the election and call for filing of fresh nominations, and the election shall be held within 30 days of receipt of the fresh nominations.
Okay.
This is
So
contrary.
when you
This
are
is
reading,
very contrary. This is very contrary to what he is proposing.
Let me-
No,
let
let me
me-
just react. Then we make progress.
Let me explain. I'll come back to you.
No, he's already explained.
Okay, so you what?
let me start. I want to read
Just-
from 6 going down.
No, you
Because-
talked about. You gave an example of death. So let's.
You
clear
said
this
that
issue.
when someone dies, we're going to proceed without, and the political party will not take
So-
part.
Yeah, so now listen. 6 says, where a candidate resigns after having been nominated in accordance with this article, the candidate shall not be eligible to contest the election, and the election shall proceed to be held on the date prescribed for holding the elections.
Where the candidate,
This
where
is
the candidate
resignation.
resigns, yes,
Okay.
yes. The election will go on.
Resignation. Now, let's go to the second one. Has been disqualified by a court after close of nominations, the candidate shall not be eligible to contest
The elections.
and the elections shall proceed to be held on the date prescribed for holding the elections.
Yes.
Or C, dies before the date prescribed for the holding of the elections. The Electoral Commission shall cancel the election and shall call for filing of fresh nominations, and the elections shall be held within 30 days of the receipt of the fresh nominations. Now, what I am saying is when you are reading this provision, you read it as a whole. What you are seeing here is that there are 2 instances that have been given where the Electoral Commission will simply say, we are proceeding with the elections. And here is an instance where a person has died. And then you say, no, 30 days, and then we'll proceed with the elections. Are you being fair to the political parties that are participating?
So you see, I think this is a misunderstanding of this provision. When you look at where a person dies, a political party is accorded a chance for fresh nomination. That's why there's that cancellation of the election, so that political parties can come and file for fresh nomination. That is the import of what they are talking about, where a person dies.
Hold your thought. I want to ask Council. After resignation or disqualification, the election will proceed.
It will proceed.
After the death, the ECZ will cancel and do
then
fresh
30
nominations.
days. Yes.
Yeah. What is the problem with that?
The problem is the timing. Is 30 days enough? Have you consulted the political parties who are stakeholders whether this is enough?
What period would you rather we
So
go with?
My proposal would be go back to the stakeholders and ask them, is this enough?
In your view, what period would you like us to have here?
I'll be thinking about 90 days.
90 days. Great. This gentleman says that that one is, you would rather go back with 90 days. Do you think 90 days is too much?
You see, let's go back to. You have a copy of the Constitution.
Yes. I also have it here.
No, I wanted the
52,
yes.
52 6.
Let's look at 52. This provision of cancellation, and you go back to nomination.
Yes.
It's there in 52. How many days are given in Article 52 as it is today?
As it is today, in Article 52, how much? How much time do we have?
So here, under 52.6, it says, where a candidate dies, resigns, or becomes disqualified in accordance with Article 70, 100, or 153, or a court disqualifies a candidate for corruption or malpractice, after the close of nominations and before the election date, the Electoral Commission shall cancel the election and require the filing of fresh nominations by eligible candidates, and elections shall be held within 30 days of the filing of the fresh nominations.
This is what the current Constitution says. So what is the problem,
So
Council?
this is a compounded provision. It takes into account all instances, okay? And we have been saying from inception that the taking into account of all these circumstances gives a very short space of time. If we are going to amend the provision, can we enlarge the time?
Okay. So you're saying that amendment should go with enlargement of the time.
Enlarging of the time.
I hear you. Let me start with Council Zimba. The increase of...
but we are not yet exhausted on this.
Okay, please.
We shall never exhaust.
We must agree. We must
shall
agree
never.
that my learned brother was almost misleading the public by saying that the Electoral Commission of Zambia, if a person dies, it will just go ahead. It will not cancel.
Council, I'm going to agree with you. That's what you said. You said that if someone dies, the ECZ will just say, let's go on with it.
The indication I was giving was that when you are reading a provision, you do not read it in isolation. You read it as a whole.
As a whole.
And that's why I got back to read it as
and
a
then
whole.
we read everything.
And I have given you the instances, 3 instances. So 1, 2, they will proceed. 3, they are doing a cancellation of the
and they're just putting 30 days instead of 90 days.
30 days.
Okay.
But this period is short.
Okay, we'll be allowing the public to come through anytime soon. There's a number on the screen that you can use to call in. But before we do that, I'll start with Councillor Zaza. The increase of the number of parliamentary seats when the country is already grappling with like a lot of problems, load shedding, the economy. A lot of people are saying it's a huge cost.
It is a huge cost, yes, but it is
which by the way, the UPN
when you
the bill.
When you pose a question,
Before I go there, let me continue asking. Let me finish asking the question.
When you pose a question, wait for a person to answer.
And I realized I didn't finish the question. Asking the question. In Bill 10, the issue of deputy ministers. Remember? Do you remember what the UPND stood for there? They said it's a huge cost to the country. They said it's a huge cost to the country. What is the difference now?
Yes. First and foremost, we have budgeted for this increment. It has been budgeted. The bigger picture is not the members of parliament going to parliament. The bigger picture is the creation of constituencies. You understand? Dividing the bigger constituencies into smaller constituencies.
Yes.
What are we trying to achieve there? I'll give you an example, an analogy.
Yes.
Of an orange. Imagine you have one orange that is being shared amongst 300 people.
Yes.
Is that orange going to satisfy the 300 people?
No, it won't. No, it won't.
So what does the government do? It divides those 300 people into hundreds, into 3. So meaning, then they give each 100 one orange, each 100 one orange, each 100 one orange. At least there the orange is going to it's going to be
the amount that everybody gets is going to be a bit slightly.
Yes, that's exactly what we are doing. Here, the issue, the bigger picture is not about the members of parliament. The bigger picture is how are the resources going to reach the needy people.
A very good explanation.
So that we've budgeted for it. It is budgeted for it. And is it a wasteful expenditure? It is not. Now, when we look at Bill 10, the proposal there was to bring what are these? Deputy ministers. What benefit was the people in the constituencies going to have from deputy ministers? 0. There was no benefit.
I hear you.
So that in itself, we looked at it as wasteful expenditure.
Council, I agree with you. When you talk about budgeting for the increase of the members of parliament, my question earlier was that stakeholders are saying that we have other pressing issues that need budgeting and resources. Why are we currently, the economy, employment, and all those things, load shedding, why are we not channeling, why are we not sending the budgets this side? Because these are pressing issues than increase of the members of parliament.
My brother, you should understand that governance is premised on certain pillars. What are those pillars? We have the political pillar, the cultural pillar, the economic pillar, and the social pillar. We cannot just be working with the economic pillar without looking at other pillars of governance. The issue of the constitution falls under the political and civil pillar. It is also as important as the economic pillar. So under the political, and that's the reason why when this government formed, it did not just look at it did not start by looking at the political pillar.
Yes.
By wanting to tamper with the constitution. They first looked at how were they going to revamp the economy. And after they've seen that now the economy is stabilizing, then they go to other pillars and look at other pillars. Why is it important? It is important because we do not want to enter this election in a gamble. You know, we've been gambling year after year. How many petitions did we have just over Article 52? A number of them decided differently. Sometimes you even laugh as well as, I got a judgment and they're saying this. So let's to make our courts be respectable, let's stop these political battles be taken to court all the time.
Councillor Zaza, at this stage in this conversation in this country, the country has not been given the delimitation report. Are you okay with that?
the delimitation report that has been that ECZ is using is the same delimitation report that was given to Edgar Jagwalungu. It's there on the internet.
My conversation is about
the
addition of the 55.
In that report, when you look at the report that the ECZ that time presented to the Minister of Justice, it was there. It's the same one that is being proposed by, or that was being given by ECZ to the Minister of Justice. It's the same. What was the proposal there? The proposal there is that we should increase to 90 seats. Does government have the capacity? Does government have the capacity to have all those 90 seats? No. That's why they've first gone to 55. I'm sure in the next amendments we'll go from 55 maybe to something else.
Maybe what I'm trying to ask is that it's said out there that the 55 proposed addition is not being told where they will be because because it's most likely going to appear in the UPND strongholds.
Okay, I'll give you an example.
Yes.
Let's assume all the 55 are in the UPND strongholds. Is that going to increase the number of voters? No. It's just
strongholds.
It's just the constituency. The number of voters.
For example, if the strongholds,
let me give you.
It's
okay. Southern province has about 7,000 registered voters. Let's create more constituencies. Are we going to have more votes? We're not going to have more votes. We're just going probably. We are going
the
to have
issue will be about the 2/3 majority. Yes.
Probably.
Which means more power to the powers. Not so.
What do you mean by more power to the thing?
If a party has got to.
Anyway, right now the question that you've posed is a question that seeks a speculative answer. Let's wait until ECZ tells us which constituencies are those. But to be honest with you, this leadership that is in power today is an honest leadership.
Very honest.
I do not think all these will just benefit Southern Province, Northwestern Province, and Western Province. We have Shiwangandu. We have
which is why I asked to say, are you okay with, at this point in this conversation in this country, we are still not yet told where those constituencies will be? You're comfortable? Okay, great.
I trust them.
Let me switch before we can bring in the public. Council, let's talk about the increase, first of all, the proposed increase. The issue to do with the costs and us having our priorities. Where are we?
Well, my view is that the increase is not necessary at this particular point. And if you look at it from the flip side, if the increase was necessary and you wanted to have that increase,
yes,
the delimitation report ought to have been presented to the people. It ought to have been a public document because this is the document that has been generated using public revenue. Okay. If the argument is that this is the same report that was presented to the previous government, I don't know why people are obsessed with the previous government. Let people compare if it's the same. Give them. They will look at the document you have presented now and they will look at the document.
So you think that it's malicious that we haven't been given the document right now?
It's not a question of being malicious. I've told you that people are just being arrogant and saying, you have your views as Zambians. We don't care. We are the ones in government. They are forgetting that we put you in government and the people always win. Don't forget that. So that is the difficulty I have. There's introduction of new concepts. Concepts such as constituency-based seat. Okay, no one is explaining to you where this is coming from. There's introduction of numbers. You see, they want to increase the number of nominated members to 10 from 8. What is the justification? Because when you look at the Constitution from as far back as the Independence Constitution up to the 1996 Constitution, there's explanation as to why we have these numbers. The reason is that if you cannot find a particular skill among the members of parliament that you have who are elected, the president can go out and look for a particular skill from outside and bring it in. What is the justification for this number? An argument such as, no, 5% of what? There's never been that in the Zambian constitution. Where are we getting these theories from? We need to be very careful as we deal with this document. Let it not be subject to abuse. If someone is telling me today that the people that are in government are very sincere, I will respectively disagree with them. Okay? Sincerity cannot be seen by word of mouth, but sincerity can be seen by deeds. What are they doing? The deeds are saying otherwise.
There are people who are suggesting and thinking that this amendment is meant to secure President Hakainde Hichilema's re-election. Before I come to that, my producer says there's a caller. Let's just pick up our headsets and attend to the caller. Hi there, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
My name's Isaac Mwanza. I'm calling from within Lusaka.
Sir, it's good to hear from you, and thank you for coming through. Please share your thoughts with the learned councils.
Yeah, so I share both views by the learned councils about this bill. That this bill has both progressive and retrogressive provisions. The provision that has been cited, for instance, where we need the mixed member proportional representation, is a progressive provision. And also changing some definitions and all that is quite progressive. But the issue of political parties, when a candidate resigns from a political party and the election goes ahead, the provision does not say what happens to a political party which sponsored that candidate. The provision where a court has disqualified the candidate and the election goes ahead does not say what happens to a political party whose candidate has been disqualified. That is retrogressive. But the other provisions where we say the candidate dies and the election is going to be cancelled and held within 30 days, I don't think there has been a change from the current constitution. So what we must be worried about is the issue that in our politics, resignations can be induced. And we know what happened in Kawata, we know what happened in Kavushi. These elections can be induced by political parties. And it might not be the party that sponsored that candidate. It might be another. So we might be creating a problem where a political party might be disadvantaged by those that have the resources to buy off the candidate. For instance, in Matero constituency, if the UPND candidate in Matero in 2026 has been bought off by one of the political parties, it means that you are technically knocking out the United Party for National Development from contesting in an election. And suppose that happens to a number of constituencies, that would become chaos. And you see the fact that there is no by-election, even when you go to court to challenge you being knocked out of the race, there will be no by-election. And the court will only say, okay, we agree that you are disadvantaged and we nullify the seat. But what happens later, who replaces the person? It is the same political party that benefited from an illegal election. So for me, I think that there is need for reflection. But what I can call on government is that let them establish a smaller committee that will engage stakeholders. Because for now, everyone is just talking without a structured way of engagement. So we need to sit down and look at this provision. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mwanza, before you go, do you have any contribution or question before I ask him mine?
Mr. Mwanza is a good man, and he's a colleague and comrade that we have been with in many places.
Yes.
I share the position that he puts across. And Mr. Mwanza, let's keep on fighting for this country.
Thank you.
Zaza?
Yes, Mr. Mwanza. On the issue of Article 52. So that's the reason why this government has given a 30 days consultative platform. Gather those views, because these proposals are not cast in stone as it is right now. They need your ingenuity to come and help. So what you can do is that get those thoughts, give them to Parliament when that select committee will be made. Give those thoughts so that we see how best this Article 52 can be crafted if the amendment is going to go through. It's not late.
Yeah.
So
thank you very much.
These are just proposals. Yes.
Thank you very much. Let me just make a quick reaction. The problem which is there is that you see when the bill goes to Parliament, already at that point we know what happens, because even the recommendations of a committee are not binding on Parliament. The best that I would advise, I agree with you that we need to make these submissions to the to government to give input, and we have given We provided this input to government the day before yesterday. We have submitted the document. Now, the most desirable thing that should have happened is that government should come up with a final bill which must go to Parliament, where all these views are taken. Because when you wait until it goes into Parliament for us to submit to Parliament, the last report of the parliamentary committee was ignored in 2016. You know that. They ignored it, and so Parliament is not bound to follow it. So that is where we have the problem with that.
No, I agree with you, but for you to base what happened in 2016 on this government, it will be unfair. Let's try and see. Because you remember, a lot of people are saying, when we have a bill, it's going to have 50+1. Have you seen any 50+1 in this bill? In this proposed bill?
No, there is no 50+1.
You understand? Let's trust these comrades that are in government. So what we do...
We want to trust them, and that's why we are giving you feedback. We are giving you feedback so that you can advise them to say, let them publish the final bill, take into account these issues that you have raised with the government. Because if it goes like that without taking into account the submission, we know that this process sometimes is not controlled by the executive in Parliament. It will just go through the parliamentary process, and we might find that nothing can be taken into account. So for us, we are saying, don't withdraw the bill. Don't withdraw the bill. We support the amendment process, but the way it has been done.
Tell me, Mr. Mwanza is still there. Oh, goodness. I had some questions for Mr. Mwanza, and he's gone. Okay, so are you still reacting to Mr. Mwanza, or we can proceed? We can proceed.
Maybe let me say something.
Uh-huh.
I am of the considered view that this that is being called the 30 days consultative window is just a fallacy. How are the views that are being collected protected? There is nothing. There is no mechanism that has been put in place to show that these are the views that have been collected, they are protected in this manner, this is the report, and there's no way of being shown that this is how we are going to infuse these particular views. What I think is that the bill must be withdrawn, views collected, and then a proper bill published for taking to the National Assembly. When you look at Article 79, what is supposed to happen is that once a bill is published, the next stage is that this bill must then go to National Assembly. Now, are you going to take a bill to the National Assembly without factoring in the views that you collect from
the public?
Because they are not protected in any way. It would be wrong to do that. And experimenting at this stage is not acceptable because we can't experiment with the Constitution.
Council, before I go to Council Zaza, I asked you a question. There are people that are suggesting that these amendments are intended to secure President Hakainde Hichilema's re-election. What do you think?
I don't know, because I think that is something that has to do with political ambition, which I wouldn't know. I don't know the intention behind it, but I am looking at the content and the good of the country. Whether one wants to secure their re-election or whether one wants to secure whatever they want to secure, that wouldn't be part of my business. But what would be part of my business is, are we putting proper content in the Constitution? Remember, the Constitution is meant to restrain the government from becoming,
doing anything they want.
Yeah, some crazy thing on its people. Okay, because this is the people's document. We are saying we are going to restrain you from being, something else on us. So we put in place this document as our document. Now the government can't come up and say, yes, you want to restrain me from, exceeding what you have given me, but I want to undo that restraint and do something else. So that would be my position on that particular issue.
Councillor Zaza, people have said what I just said, whereby they're saying that these amendments are meant for the president to win the election before the election happens.
I honestly do not understand how that can happen. I honestly do not understand. Because when you look at the bill in its totality, is there any provision that says, UPND gains some advantages? There's nothing there. Even when you look at proportional, the electoral process that has been proposed, the mixed members proportional representation, this is something that will be voted for by the people of Zambia. It's not the UPND. It's not going to be a UPND selecting that, now we are going to have 3 we are going to apportion PF2, we are going to apportion. No, it's not going to be like that. How it is done is like this. So there will be an election, general election.
Yes.
No more general election. So before that general election, political parties will be asked to give a list of 35 people. In that list, there will be females, there will be youths, and people with disabilities.
Yes.
In that 35. So UPND is going to submit that list. PF is going to submit that list. Citizen First.
All the political
parties are going to submit those lists. Then us as the voters are going to vote for that list. So we are going to be voting for a political party. We're not going to be voting.
That already comes with a list.
We are going to vote for that list being given by a political party. We're not going to vote for individuals on that list. We're not going to vote for individuals on that list. So at the end of the day, the Electoral Commission of Zambia is going to look at how many people have voted for list A. For example, if list A is UNIP, and UNIP from the votes it gets, let's say 40%. So you do 40% of 35. So UNIP is going to have how many seats? 14 seats. Because when you do 40 over 100 times 35, it gives you 14.
What's your thought? Director says there's a phone call. Hi there, good morning.
Am I through there?
You are very through and you're live. The learned councils are listening to you. May we know your name and where you're calling us from?
Matomola.
Matomola from where?
UPND.
Yes, from UPND, but where are you calling us from?
Lusaka.
Thank you. You may go on, please.
So, what the learned councils there are saying, we appreciate their submissions. However, the Zambian people must be made aware that the lies that that have been peddled by the other council, who seemingly has got points that are very much opposed to the very constitution that he promised as a lawyer to defend, must be met with the full force of truth. Number one, it is the constitution that actually mandates the amendment process that we are currently undertaking, because every after 10 years, the constitution allows parliament to delimitate. So it will be unconstitutional if we do not amend this constitution, because every after 10 years, the constitution mandates us to delimitate. So if we do not delimitate, it is going against the very constitution that governs this country. Secondly, the constitution gives guidelines on how the amendment process should be undertaken through Article 79. So Article 79 of the Zambian Constitution is the one that actually gives the guidelines on how an amendment process must be undertaken. And so far, the process where members of parliament are debating about this bill is part of it. There is nowhere in the constitution that is where it says that if you are amending the constitution, you have to get consensus and views from the people. The views from the people are actually gotten through our elected members of parliament. So let the Renard Council there tell us which article, when we are doing a constitutional amendment process, we have to engage the people through what he's talking about.
Mr. Matamola, let's conclude.
Yeah, we get consensus through our elected members of parliament. That is where the legislative powers are. So let him tell the people there which clause in the constitution allows us to have consensus with the people, which article, so that we can know it now.
Thank you, sir, for coming through. I appreciate you. I'm just going to allow Council Zimba to respond to you.
Okay, now, thank you very much. A conversation that, first of all, starts off with an accusation is not a good one. The lies that he's telling. I wish I could say that, but I have been raised well, so I can't use such kind of language. Now, when you look at the Constitution, The Constitution in Article 8 talks about our national values and principles. One of the national values under 8C is democracy and constitutionalism. What is democracy? Democracy simply refers to the will or wishes of the people.
Yes.
And this document we call the Constitution in the preamble says, we, the people of Zambia. This is a people's document. It is different from an act of parliament. And legislative power, which is being talked about by the good man that code, sits in Article 61 and 62. 61 says the legislative authority of the Republic derives from the people of Zambia. And this is where we begin to introduce representative democracy, where we elect people to go to parliament and they speak for us. This particular issue must be understood in context. There is no one that should call another person a liar here. But what we must do is we must be sincere with each other. This people's document, can it be amended in the manner that the UPND government is trying to amend it? No.
Council, I have a question.
Don't trivialize collection of views from the people. Leadership does not require arrogance, but requires a listening ear and to serve the people that you
Thank you, Council. Council, we are relying on, right now, we're relying on the two of you to help guide and make us understand.
May I just make some clarification on what Council has submitted? Yes. So, when you look at Article 8, especially Article 8C, the one that he has just cited, it talks about democracy and constitutionalism.
Yes.
Democracy is the will of the people.
Yes.
Democracy can be direct or indirect democracy. Now, what are we talking about when you're saying that the people participate in this process? They will participate directly and indirectly. Directly by submitting their views to Parliament.
And indirectly?
Indirectly through their elected members of Parliament. That is our democracy.
Amongst the two of you, anyone can pick it up. Yes. Is there anywhere where it's written on the process on how the constitution can be amended to say step 1, we do this. From here, we go to step 2.
We are guided by Article 79.
Does Article 79 say from this point, go to the people, get views, and come back?
That question can be answered by my colleague. My import of
I said anybody can pick it up. Council Zimba.
It will not say that.
Why is my colleague avoiding that question?
No, it will not say that. Article 79 will not say that.
So if Article 79 doesn't say from this point go to the people and come back, why are we bent on saying we should go to the people and we are ignoring the people?
This is the first time Zambia is undertaking an amendment of the constitution.
No, it's not.
It's not. What have we done in the past?
So
that process worked. Who are the owners of this document? This document belongs to the people. From way back, when you look at the commissions that we've had, okay, we had the Chona Commission, we had the Mungomba Commission.
Yes,
See, we would have said at that particular point, this Chona Commission collected views. Forget about the other commissions that are coming. Let's go to that report and use the submissions that were made in that report to come up with a draft which we should give to the people. We have never done that. What we have done is at every given time and change of generations and seasons have invited us and made it necessary for us to go back to the people and collect the views. Because this is the people's document. It is the grand norm. This is the foundation of our country. We cannot trivialize it with a technicality and say, no, we will not go back to the people, we just proceed like this. And that's what I'm saying. Most of this is being driven by just arrogance, just saying, we are going to just go.
I hear you. True. There is no arrogance.
You said you can't answer this one, so we can move.
No, there is no arrogance. I just wanted to put this clear. There is no arrogance on the part of government. It's the arrogance in the people who are opposing. You see, where
are we going to call the people of Zambia arrogant for saying that they were?
Let's be fair.
For saying that they were not included in the process.
How are they not included? I mean, every Zambian today falls in a constituency. And if you fall in a constituency, you have a representative. And if you have a representative, that is representative democracy. You are being represented by your leader. Your views are heard through your leader.
But you know what?
So where is the arrogance on the part of
if you are going to say that, you know that whether you like it or not, from where I stay, where I stand, I don't see any platform that has been set by the people leading this, saying, "Oh, bring forth your views."
You see. No, I mean, when you look at that roadmap that the Minister of Government, the Minister of Justice gave, it was even explicit that from the day she gave those provisions to up to today, this is a consultative period. Have we done that? Has my colleague done that?
For instance, from here, where can I go to put my views? Like, not us on the media, but just like an ordinary person who's watching us. Where do they go?
Mean, you can even go to Minister of Justice. You can even go
the
to
whole country. We can go to the Minister of Justice reception and say that we've brought.
You know that we have constituency offices. Go to your constituency office.
Who am I going to find there? Like, I think there's supposed to be some sort of a plan. Like, okay,
when you go to a constituency
between this time, come. There's a box here. Come and leave your submission.
When you go to a constituency office, you'll find that they've got people there all the time. They'll receive your views. There's nothing that has stopped anyone from doing that.
But you know, like some sort of an announcement could have been said, just so there's some order.
Let me ask you a question and ask my brother a question. On the issue of Article 103, where the government is proposing that provision that talks about hearing the presidential petition should include determination, to hear and determine. What consultation do you need from there? My brother, you're my learned brother. What consultation?
Because of time, I've got.
I just want. We haven't departed. We haven't departed from the issue.
Because of time, I've got a question I'd like to ask.
That have been proposed.
Because of time, I've got a question I want to ask.
Yes.
I'm going to start with. Let me start with Councillor Zimba. What is the real difference between Bill 7 from the UPND and the controversial Bill 10 from the PF?
Okay, let's not trivialize this. Look, when you look at the way Bill 10 was structured and how it came up, there was they called it the National Democratic something, and there was an act of parliament to that effect, which put together people, and there was a gathering at Mulungushi to discuss and debate those provisions. People went there, they debated and all those things. As regards this particular bill, there's been nothing like that. There's no piece of legislation that has set up a particular body that is collecting and protecting the views of the people. That is a big difference. Secondly, when you look at the provisions that were contained in Bill 10, most of the provisions there that were contained were as a result of views that were collected and put in there. When you look at this particular document, we don't know where these views are coming from. Where have they gotten the views from? I'm being told here that they collected from previous constitution review commissions. That has never been the modus that Zambia has used in coming up with a draft piece of legislation relating to the constitution. We've never done that. We are doing it for the very first time. And I don't think this particular thing would work, because I think in its entirety, it's experimental. And we should not do that. We should never experiment with this piece of legislation. Let's be sincere with each other. Let's not trivialize the desire by the people to be consulted. This is the people's document. Let us consult them. Whether we like it or not, it is their document. We must consult them.
Councillor Zaza, what are some of the progressive or people-centered provisions can you cite from Bill 7?
Some of the progressive provisions. One, the provision that talks about proportional representation, the proposed electoral system.
I would like to understand how proportional representation will work.
How is it going to work?
Yes.
So you remember I started telling you about the party lists.
Yes.
So those party lists, every political party will be given, they'll give a list of youths, women, and people with disabilities. 35 seats on that list.
Yes.
35 names on that list. 35 names on all the political parties. So as the voters are going to vote for that list, so
as we vote for the president, for the members of parliament, for the councillors, there will also be a list we are voting for.
I don't want to disturb him. Yes. I just want him to go to the bill and show us where that procedure is listed.
Where, sir? Because I have the bill also here.
Yes. Let's follow.
Where can I read it?
So when you look at the bill, it will talk about regulations.
Which provisions are?
I want to talk about regulations or as prescribed. So meaning ECZ is going to come up and show you how it is done. When you look at good standards in the world, what I'm talking about is the way proportional representation operates.
So let's agree
So
that what
why
he's
you-
saying is
why
not
you-
there, isn't it? Can we agree?
Is what you're saying in the bill? Because
It
I
is
want
going
also,
to
I
be
want,
prescribed. That's why
Is
when
it
you
in the bill?
it is not there in the
Oh, it's
bill.
not in the
but
bill,
I'm
okay.
showing
We
you
agree,
how it is.
yeah.
He's asked me how it's going to work, and I'm explaining. I'm sure you didn't even know how it works.
okay, so,
So,
let me get it
yes,
straight. Each political party will have that list.
It's going to have a
So
list.
as the people are voting, they'll vote for
So they will be
President,
given, yes, they
the
will be given
members of parliament,
members of parliament, and also that list.
and also the list.
Yes.
Okay.
So on that list, you are not going to vote for individuals on that list.
You're voting for the whole
You
list.
are voting for the whole list. So if that list is going to have, for example, UNIP, at the end of the day, UNIP has 40%. 40%. It garners 40% using that list. So meaning UNIP, how is UNIP going to have the seats? So they will do 40% over 100 times 35. It will give you 14 seats. So UNIP is going to have 14 seats. So how that thing is going to be done in its totality, it will be prescribed by an act of parliament.
So, but then how does UNIP decide the 14 members to go into?
Into the list. So each political party is going to draft that list. How they are going to come up with those people is up to them. But what they should know is that those are supposed to be youths, those are supposed to be people with disabilities, and those are supposed to be women. So you and me who are above 40 or above 35, we cannot be featured on that list. And ECZ is going to scrutinize the list. I believe ECZ is going to scrutinize that list to see to it that those people on that list are the people who are intended to be on the list.
Is the ECZ going to be when you say scrutinize? Is the ECZ going to be part of this selection of those people? Like?
No. When you submit the list, ECZ scrutinizes. Just like you go for nomination. When you go for nominations, you give your credentials. ECZ has to scrutinize. Do you have a grade 12 certificate? Are you a Zambian citizen? Do you meet all these criteria that the Constitution has put as a bouquet for you to qualify as a member of parliament? So that scrutiny is also going to be done by ECZ on the list that the political parties are going to give.
Councillor Zimba,
No, I'm not yet done. You remember he talked about the issue of this government just going to the past reports and gathering from the past reports and getting views. Has never happened. It happened in the NDC. Is it NDF or NDC? The NDC was made up of two components. The views that they gathered from the documents and the views that they gathered from the people. So it is not that this government this has happened. Now, where have we gotten certain views? We've gotten certain views from association. Even these other civil society organizations, they've given views to the Minister of Justice on what they want this bill to be or the amendments should be. This was even before government.
But if that was standard procedure,
that was even before government.
Council, if that was standard procedure, are we going to be here complaining if that was standard procedure?
Listen, even in the past, people have complained. This is not the first time that people are complaining. Even as far back as 1973, people complained about the procedure. There has been a use of the Inquiries Act in the past. Why have people departed from the Inquiries Act? The Inquiries Act has one problem. The first problem of the Inquiries Act is that...
Let's bring in a caller before we can proceed. Hi there, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
Yeah, I wanted to add something on the program.
What's your name, sir?
This is Abraham.
Abraham, where are you calling us from?
Calling from Kitwe.
Kitwe. You may go on, please.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, you may go on, Abraham. You may go on, please.
Calling you from Kitwe.
Yes, can you hear me? I'm saying you can go on.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Zaza. Good morning, Mr. Zimba.
Good morning, Abraham.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something on delimitation and this idea of saying delimitation will deliver resources to constituencies.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, please. You go on. We can hear you.
Yeah, I want I think Mr. Zaza, if he can explain further, because if you look at I can cite an example of Uganda. If you look at the size of Uganda is probably 5 times smaller than South Africa. It's 5 times smaller than Angola. It has 550 something member of parliament. South Africa has 400 something member of parliament. If you go to Angola has almost 200 and something member of parliament. But if you look at the resource allocation and development of Uganda compared to South Africa and compared to Angola, are we being sincere by saying the more MPs we have, that's when we are going to see development? Because for me, the way I see it, development is at the mercy of government. If government wants to develop an area, they will do so. Because in every district, the government has its own representative. We have the councils, we have education boards, we have departments under Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education. Any area of governance, you find it in provincial headquarters. If you need the roads to be done in Sesheke, you don't need an MP. RDA is supposed to do that. So why are we saying we need more MPs to access development? How practical? We've been practical in that area. Where is the practicality? If we get an example, because I think we are driving this from Uganda. I've seen most of the posts about Uganda having more MPs, 50 MPs.
Sir, before I let you go, before I let the Learned Councils to come through and respond to you, are there any clauses that you're happy with in the draft?
In the draft? From what I've been seeing and what the two councils have been explaining, I think this has been rushed. We just need time for all this. Are there any proposals that you're happy with from the ones that have been given so far? So far nothing. So far nothing? No, so far nothing.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Let's start with Council Zimba.
Okay, so Abraham, thank you very much for the position given. I think, you see, when we talk about collection of views, this is what we are talking about. There are people that are
Council,
pro and against.
This says there's a caller. Hi there. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, thank you. Good morning. Your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Alfred Yombwe, calling from within Lusaka.
Alfred Yombwe?
Yes, calling from within Lusaka.
You may go on, please.
Okay. Good morning, Council Zimba and Council Zaza.
Good morning, Alfred Yombwe.
Okay. That bill 7, whatever they are calling it, is the executive-driven bill. Okay? The executive just seated the 26 of them with the ruling party and imposed it on us. Okay? We can't accept it. It's more toxic than the bill 10 they shot down those UPND guys.
It's more what? It's more what?
It's more toxic than the bill 10 they shot down and celebrated with the 100 Iron and 4 cousins at Community House. Okay? They are telling us they have increased the constituencies by 50 plus without even telling us from where those constituencies are going to come from. Why are you doing this? UPND. This UPND government has never been sincere. Okay? This UPND government has never been sincere with the Zambians, how they are dealing with the Zambians. It's not good. Can you be sincere and transparent for once? Okay? That's not how you amend the constitution. Okay? Why did you shut down the bill, which has more consensus than what you are doing now? Stop being hypocrite.
Mr. Yamba,
can you do the right thing for one?
Mr. Yamba, before you go, are you not happy that more youths, more women will be included, as well as people with disabilities will be included in this?
No,
they'll have a seat at the table.
That's more like you could think about that. Okay? They give us just a little piece and the rest is poison. Then they think we can be happy. No, how many more youth? 5 or 10? 20 women, 3 disabilities. If we go around the whole country, do we all have 3 disabled people in this? Why not? So, back about to Shinga. Okay? We only back about to Shinga. The best way is to stop this process. Because.
Sir, because of time, I'm going to have to let you go. Thank you so much. Councillors, because of time, I need you to respond to, I'm going to start with Councillor Zimba, respond to our callers and also give your closing remarks.
Okay, so I was talking about the views given by Abraham from Kitwe.
Yes.
Now, Abraham from Kitwe approaches it from a developmental angle. I think it is important to collect these views. You must understand what Zambians are thinking. And he gives it from this angle because, you see, he says in his view, increase of the number of members of parliament will not deliver development because development is about political will. That's his view.
That's what
it's an
said,
important view. We need to collect such views so that even as we get to the final document that you put across, you will be able to come up with an informed position as regards what the people are saying. You don't just simply say, no, we'll not collect that view because we've got what previous commission said we'll collect from there. No, you don't do that. I did also hear that it's not the first time that this is happening. The NDF had a collection of these views from the people and they also looked at documents. Yes, they did that, but the most important thing is that there was collection of views. Have you had collection of views in this particular process for you to come up with this bill? There has been none. I have listened to what Alfred Yombo is saying. He's giving his view. He is saying, you are trying to hoodwink us. We don't want this process. Consult us. Don't come up with a document as the executive. All he's saying is, please collect and listen to us as citizens. That is how it should be done. In the end, what I would be saying is this. I would urge the government to be more attentive to what the people are saying. I would urge the government to loosen up and not take a rigid position. So whether you like it or not, we are going to go ahead with this process. It would not be the right thing to do. For now, I'm urging Zambians, I'm urging civil society, and I'm urging all well-meaning people to say no to Bill 7, and also urging the government to withdraw this bill, because your people have said no.
Thank you. Councillor Zaza?
Thank you so much.
Your response to the callers and as well as your closing remarks?
I'll start with his last remarks.
Yes.
He is talking about government being rigid. Has government shown any rigidity? It hasn't shown any rigidity. That's the reason why today we are sitting here and debating the clauses in Bill 7. Because government wants to know what people are feeling. You understand? That's the reason why the Minister of Justice is going around the country to have that feel. In terms of collection of views, government did collect views. It did collect views from the Law Association of Zambia, which association him and myself belong. And one of the views which was there was that we should have mixed member proportional representation. Secondly, that in the next petitions, be it parliamentary, be it presidential, they should be heard and determined. Those came from the Law Association of Zambia. So where has government missed? Government has followed Article 79 to the letter. They've collected the views from the people and they're still collecting the views. So I urge Mr. Jonas Zimba here and other people, including this Alfred Mwamba, whose voice I know that is not Alfred Mwamba. I know the person behind the voice. It's Celestine. I know that voice.
Is it from Kitwe?
He should not be. No, Celestine is from Lusaka. He should not be a coward. Come and voice out your. I know these people. I've interacted. I know their reasoning. You understand? This is Celestine. You understand? What we are saying is that we should not be cowards. Let's debate. Let's have a fruitful debate.
Why is Celestine hiding? You're Zambian, bro. You're supposed to know.
But
if he's right, you're Zambian, you are entitled to your opinion.
Let's have a debate like the one we're having with my brother here, where we are educating each other. And we can have a meaningful bill at the end of the day. But to say that this bill should be withdrawn is being insincere. Some of the provisions that are in this same bill, you'll find them in Bill 10, which this man supported. He supported Bill 10.
No. Did you hear me talk about Bill 10?
You did support Bill 10.
I don't know if I heard him
Here
support
today you've
Buten.
not said anything about
No.
Buten, but I know in
Did
the
you
past
support
that
Buten
he
back then?
I
He
never
supported.
supported Buten. I never said anything
Anyway,
about
that's the
Buten.
problem with us human beings. We are always
No, quote me.
we
Bring
always,
me
we
a
always
document
want, we
or
always want
anything
to call
which
other
shows that
people
I supported.
insincere.
Are we, is it possible for at some point after the interview for us to pull
I
out?
will do that.
To pull
Yeah.
out.
Yes, I will do that.
A video
These are the
or
people
a
supported
statement.
Buten. In Buten, there was here and determined. Even those who were proposing Buten, they wanted that the matter.
If you take him to court, I'll be witness.
please,
I can't take my brother to court.
No, I'm just joking. I know.
you will find that even in Buten, here and determined was one of the provisions. Mixed member proportional representation was one of the provisions. Actually, they even went ahead in Buten to say we do not want Article 52. Those are the things that you're supporting. But today,
in your
he's
closing
saying
remarks,
there's nothing.
Council.
So in my closing remarks is that we should continue having healthy debates. Those that have certain things that they want how to refine this bill. This bill is not cast in stone. It can still be refined. They can still go to the Parliamentary Select Committee, which will be, I think they will announce very soon. They will be getting views so that we can have a better or a good bill. Otherwise, the provisions that are in this bill are very progressive. Imagine going into 2026, if this bill goes through, we are going to have guaranteed 20 seats, minimum 20 seats for women, 12 seats for youths, 3 seats for people with disabilities. And these are just minimums. It doesn't mean that in the constituency-based seats, they cannot participate. Women can still participate in the constituent-based seats. People with disabilities can still participate. Youths can still participate. But we have a minimum. Don't you think that it's also nice to go into 2026 election, knowing that if there will be a presidential petition, the presidential petition will be heard and determined in 14 days? Doesn't that give you that ease and comfort? That's what the law should do. It should bring about certainty. And this is what this government is doing, bringing certainty to our law.
Gentlemen, I'd like to thank you so much for your time today. I know I took more than the 1 hour asked for. I really appreciate. And of course, for all the information that you've shared. And we can only hope that the people will actually make decisions from what you've shared.
Cheers.
No, thanks so much.
This has been Showster's House, and I've been your host, Jackson Piri. Until next week, bye-bye for now.